Welcome to the Women2Win Spotlight of the Week. This week's video is about Wendy Morton, the MP for Aldbridge Brown Hills, first elected in 2015. Wendy ran her own business with her husband and has run the Conservative Social Action Project Umabano in Africa for many years. Wendy has also served as an association chairman and was actually William Hague's chairman. Enjoy the video. When did you first become interested in politics?
Oh gosh, well it wasn't just yesterday, and I can assure you of that. It was probably around about 2000. I became interested partly because of the campaign to keep the pound. Also, I'm from a rural part of Britain, the Yorkshire Dales, and I could see what was happening during foot and mouth and the impact that was having on farmers. And those were some of the real things that started to make me interested in politics. And then from there, I got involved helping locally. And the next minute I knew, I was asked to stand to be a local councillor in a by-election, which I did after much soul-searching. Won by 4 votes to take a seat off the Lib Dems. And that really was the start of my journey into politics. But it has taken me a long time to get here.
And you mentioned soul-searching. What was it that made you kind of question whether you should be doing that?
Just things that made me, that went through my mind. Can I do this? I want to do it, but am I sure I can do it? Have I got the time to do it? I want to make the best job of it that I can. In a similar way, the first time I stood in 2005, I stood in the party's city seat project in Newcastle upon Tyne, and that was just perfect for me because I'd been a councillor for a couple of years. This was the next step. For me, it's been quite a journey, but that step was a chance for me to I suppose in a way gain some confidence, to understand how the bigger political world operated, how it felt, what it was like to be a part of it. And that ultimately then gave me the confidence to know that this is what I want to do. I can do it, and I'm going to make sure that I do all I can to get where I want to be.
Can you tell us about how you prepared for interviews?
Well, obviously I did all the usual things, which was doing the research for the CV, drafting or crafting even my speech and learning that. But I think one of the things I used to do was when I had an interview coming up, I would get back from work and I'd go home and I'd tell my husband, right, we need to do some practice. So I would go and get dressed up in my interview suit, and he would be sitting at the other end of the lounge. And I think, to be fair, he knew the speech probably better than I did, but I would walk into the lounge with the ice cream scoop in my hand, and this was my microphone. And the idea was that it was just like doing an interview. So I would stand there and deliver my speech to him at the other end of the room, and then he would fire some questions at me. But also in the room, I would have strategically placed maybe the furry cat to one side of him and a furry dog to the other side, and they were in a way my target audience, so that as I was speaking I was learning not just to speak to one person or trying to move my head around too much, but actually talk and engage with my audience. It might sound a bit bizarre, but it worked for me.
And how did your experience in the voluntary party help you in your journey to becoming an MP?
For me, that was hugely important. I've had a number of roles. I was chairman of my local association, but I think one of the roles that I had that has probably made me more proud than many things that I've done was being a vice chairman of the party, and I had the social action brief. I loved the work that we did, running projects internationally as well as at party conference and here in the UK. But it was also a chance to meet more members of the party. I met lots of members of Parliament, and actually now that I'm here, there are colleagues that I work with on a daily basis, that I meet regularly, that I've known for a number of years through that work in the voluntary party.
What advice would you give to people who don't know where to start but think politics might be interesting?
I think first and foremost, make contact with your local association or with the party. I think particularly if you're a woman, check out the CWO. They do they organise training events, they organise forums, really good chance to meet like-minded people. If you are able to go to a party conference, again, it's another fantastic opportunity to listen to debates and speeches, but if you're going to a party conference, I'd urge people to go along to the fringes, where there are lots of other debates and events going on. And I think if you like campaigning, which I do, and I think is at the heart of today's Conservative Party, if there's a local by-election or if there's a national by-election, if you're able to go along and help, I find that bizarrely to some people, but not to me. I find it really enjoyable. Give me a bunch of leaflets and I'll happily go and deliver them.
You mentioned you first stood in 2005 and you were elected in 2015. At any point did you think this is too tough or maybe this isn't for me? What kept you going?
Persistence is probably what kept me going, and a determination that once I decided this is what I wanted to do, I wasn't going to give up. But it wasn't at times the easiest of journeys, and I think I do see it as a journey. It wasn't a case of I got from A to B in one go. I stood in 2005. I did a marginal seat in 2010, which again I take a huge amount of experience from. And then in 2015 I was very lucky and I got a seat which has got a Conservative majority. So persistence, determination, and it's like anything, it's like life. You know, sometimes it's about being in the right place at the right time. Basically, if you want something, don't give up.